Hello everyone, welcome to Reactor Simulator. What I'm going to be doing here today is basically showing the behind the scenes of the Reactor Simulator. This would be the first time in the RecRoom that I'm using. So please do enjoy. And let's just get started into it. Just get started over here. I have some CV2 running music for the lobby. Over here we have the key card. Here is just to make sure that a new player has almost all of the systems that they need. Here is the checkpoint system, in which I am checking if the player is a beginner or is not, and to play checkpoint sound.
Welcome, happy man.
Over here we have our doors which go up and down. We have a lovely little futuristic thing displaying the map. Over here is the unfinished third section. Pretty much every respawn links up to this get position, rotation, and we might just have a respawn point over our trigger value. Heading into the main core room, we have quite a bit of spaghetti. Let's break it down. Here we have all the for the startup sequence. Now sure, I am not the best coder, so it is very messy and probably lots of things are wrong. But if the code works, then don't touch the code. Over here, I just have the audio for the audio of the bad things happening. Things like call warnings, these will play over here. And pretty much all the controls and core temperature values are in here as well. Here is everything you need to know for this, laser level and coolant. Let's start off with the fact that first, if I can find it, the fraction,
Attention personnel.
which is to check temperature value, setting the rotator to the closest angle, and then just making sure that everything's disabled for around 6 seconds. And changing the lasers if needed. Here is the annunciator panel, which actually changes these LEDs. Screens, you could say. Going to edit that. We have a little bit of code here, which is checking whether shutdown is true, and if it isn't, going to do all the others. If the shutdown is true, we don't want it to do anything. And these are just for the sounds. Then there's a whole bunch of mumbo jumbo that is changing. Over here, I have the actual core temperature. Again, they're messy. And I just have a bunch of things. I'd probably summarize that into one circuit, but I just never decided. Over here is the code for zero uptime timer, in which it is just adding 1 every second and then converting that to a value that can be displayed onto that. Over here is all the audio, so things like audio command events. So the guy saying safety levels are passing 2000 Kelvin, things such as that. For here we get the music, so the extending laser voice. I don't know why that's here, but
Thank you for choosing employment at Reactor-Simulator.
Music, Shutdown music, Meltdown,
Medication power.
all the music.
And the
Over here I have some alarms, so we've been playing on that alarm, just generally play. And over here, explosions. And then of course we have the shutdown panel, which will open in the event that 12,000 Kelvin is reached. And it just plays a sequence of pre-programmed events. Also, it is checking whether or not it is equal to 20, which means that there is a 20% chance that this shutdown will fail, a separate sequence of events causing a meltdown. Also a freeze-down over here, probably the only thing that's color-coded. And that pretty much summarizes this room. Not all too much when you look at it in that perspective. Over down here, we have the lights, which is just saying it's loaded, and we will turn off the lights when the lights are off. We also do that when the lights are on, then we do the opposite. Just for now, I'm going to delete this trigger, please. Keep seeing things. Over here is the main control room. It is not too much to take in at first glance. Over here, we are checking when the event receiver gets the ignite core, which we have pre-programmed. If the shutdown has failed, if the startup has failed, then we're playing the music, going over here, playing the voice,
personnel,
and then actually going
the minimum thing.
our startup particles, and this is the if, in which if starts correctly or if it does not start up correctly, and then causing a sequence of events after that. On this side, we have shaking code. It's getting the player, adding a bunch of values to it, and then removing those values very quickly, causing the player woo, whoa, woo, go ahead and shake, and then slowly bringing it down to the end of a pre-programmed duration and intensity. Over here is all the logic for changing lasers, in which it also goes ahead with this chip, which has all the offline studio event toggles. And basically it's just doing all the checks it needs to change the lasers based off what I asked it to change. Continue forward.
Maintain a minimum
Over here is basically the fill level and the laser
cellular
integrity, which that is updating every 0.5 seconds to change the intensity. Not the intensity, what I just said earlier. And if it's greater than 12,000, then all the lasers die anyway. Here it is updating the studio event sender via a string and a float. And it's just checking a whole bunch of things, whether the laser should die, whether the laser is okay, whether it's broken, the laser integrity, just a bunch. And each laser has its own kind of multiplication in order for it to be happy or not. This is just at the start to make sure all the settings are reset. And here is where the lasers actually die. I believe so. I have some pistons and code for the guy to go on and extend it and so on. I'm guessing this is the reason why it's not synced. Here is the trigger volume, just saying if I touch it, you die. Over here we have the room loaded. Make sure this is very particular. Apologies. Reverse or play the piston. Again, the dome lights.
Welcome, happy man.
And, well, that's
System reminder.
most of the visible.
Laser integrity requires
It
continuous
might not seem like the whole lot,
safe.
but it is quite a bit. That's the code for it. Now, these fans are programmed mostly. They have been. So if I tell him to play, he will play. But unfortunately, given shutting down. I just do not have the tongue to do this again. For those get mostly that would be it. Of course, the lasers have their own rotator, their own piston, their own failure, and so on. If it fails, basically here I'm resetting everything. Of course, I am no professional, but I did try my best. These are just lights saying, oh, you should turn off. Off for blues and reds. And I'm not going to reveal the location of the keys, as this game is currently public if the time by this video is actually released, due to the fact that I'm not 100% sure if I'm going to release this. However, I would recommend check it out. You still can, as it really would mean a lot. Oh, where's the tank? There we go. It would really mean a lot to me if you go on ahead.
Facility reminder. Any ambient feeding 2,000
Maybe you'll even see me at
for the maintenance immediately.
Venus. I would like to thank RecRoom for everything that it's done. And for everyone that I met. Thank you. Goodbye, RecRoom.
Initializing core. Please stand by. All systems go. Starting lasers in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ignition. Core ignition successful. Systems online. One. Ignition. Warning. Initial startup sequence failed. Power grid synchronization lost. Initiating complete system reboot. Please stand by.
Danger. Core structural failure detected. Primary containment housing is actively melted. The manual emergency shutdown sequence is now available. Operators must input pre-authorization keys to initiate the final shutdown procedure. Shutdown expiration in 1 minute. Core shutdown failure. Evacuate the facility immediately. Evacuate the facility immediately. Now available. Operators must input pre-authorization keys to initiate the final shutdown procedure. Shutdown expiration in 1 minute. Shutdown was successful. Shutting down all systems. thermal cascade is reversible. Operators must maximize all heating systems immediately to prevent cryogenic collapse. Closing emergency containment doors.
And I probably won't be able to play my game anymore after a few days. So, that's it. Thank you, Rec Room. And goodbye.